already have the history page and the map page quite ready. And in the previous section, we even added some icons into the application. And we'll learn how to add them both directly from the portable class library or from the Android and iOS projects. In this section, we're going to learn a little bit about link while we add what is supposed to be displayed in the profile page. So the first thing that we're going to do is define the profile page. Currently, we only have a label and we have no functionality in it. So during this lecture, we're going to add the elements on the SAML file that are to be displayed inside of the profile page, and we're going to start getting information from one of the tables that is inside of the SQLite database and display that information in here. It's not going to be a very difficult page. All we have to do is have a label that will display the amount of posts that this user has added, as well as display the amount of posts per category. And by category, I mean the category of the element, the venue that they selected when they added their experience. So in fact, I can add the label that exists already. And it's going to be a good thing that we are already inside of a stack layout. All I have to do is set the name for the label, which is going to be post count label. I am going to get rid of the text and I'm going to change the horizontal options to be center. I'm also going to set the text color to be Dodger blue, which is the color that we have been using so far. And finally, I am going to set the font attributes to be bold. And this one by itself is going to contain only the amount of posts for the user. We also want to define another label that is simply going to say posts, and that is going to be right below this one. So we'll have a bigger blue font at the top with the amount of posts, and then right below it, this small label that is going to say posts. The horizontal options has to be center as well. The text color is going to be something like light gray, and we'll see if this looks okay. Let me just open the Xamarin Forms previewer to take a look at that. And while it loads, I can add something like a placeholder for the text that is just going to be dashes inside of the label that is going to hold the actual count of posts. So we will have something like this, which looks okay. There is something that I have to do, which is add some margin to the stack layout, which is going to be 20 to the left, maybe 40 to the top, 20 to the right, and 0 to the bottom. And so we have some better spacing for this information. And right below this other label, I am going to add a list. And this list view is going to contain elements that have both the name of a category and the amount of posts that that category has inside of the local database. To get things ready for when we are going to implement this list view, I am going to set the name for the list view to be categories list view, and inside I am going to set the list views item template to be a data template. And the data template in this case is going to be a text cell because I don't need a lot of things in here. And the data template is going to be a view cell, so I can define exactly how I want this cell to look, but we are not going to be implementing this just yet. What we are going to do is open the profile page.saml.cs file and get the information that is supposed to go in that label that we hold the amount of posts that the user has made. And that is going to be very straightforward. We're going to be doing this for the onAppearing method. So I am going to override it, and I will have to read from the post table, get all of the elements, and then just get how many elements there are and assign it to the proper label. For that, remember that we have to use this using statement, get a SQLite connection, maybe add a using directive or just write the entire namespace, create the new variable, which is going to be equal to a new SQLite connection. And the SQLite connection constructor requires the database path, which is inside of the app class and its database location static variable. Having the connection, we can get the post table by calling the table method, the table generic method that is going to get the post table. To use the post class, we may need a using directive. And since in this section we're going to be covering link, we are going to start with something that we have already used about link, which is the toList method. And this toList method is going to get the post table as a list of posts. Of course, to be able to use that extended method, we need this using directive to system.link. We're going to be using link a little bit more in the next lecture, which is why it is important that you already have it referenced and that you test that it's working by calling this method. And then all we have to do is assign to the post count label text the amount of elements inside of that post table. The post table is going to have a count property, which will contain the amount of elements inside. And then we can call the toString method to get this integer as a string and be able to assign it to a string property. And that's pretty much it. We can go ahead and test this in any simulator, and we can navigate to that profile page. And notice how we are able to see the amount of posts in here. And it says 1 and it says posts right below. And I could add another post because in this case I only see 1. Save it. If it is successful, we can head back and we can see how, because we are doing all of the functionality of the profile page also on the onAppearing, we see that the count has moved to 2. So basically we have completed the interface for the profile page. We have still to implement the view cell, but we have everything that's needed, the 2 labels and 1 list view. And from the constructor of this class, we are getting the information from the post table that is inside of our SQLite database. And since we have that information, we can get the count inside of that table as a property of the list, which, by the way, we are able to get the list through this method that we have available thanks to link, and then assign that to the label. In the next lecture, we're going to take more advantage of link, doing things that are more exciting than just casting a table query into a list. In the next lecture, we're going to learn how from this table we can get unique values using link capabilities.